I'm ready. Thank you. That's Jason. Yeah, that's Jason. I think he's, I don't know.
I'd like to call this regular town board meeting for October 15th, 2024 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg.
Here.
Trustee Katzos.
Here.
Trustee Hartz.
Here.
Trustee Moreland.
Here.
Trustee McLaurin.
Here.
And Mayor Ah.
Here. All rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does the board have any conflicts of interest?
No.
No.
No. No.
I'll open the meeting up for general public input for anything not on the agenda.
Good evening. Marion Tone, 1495 County Road 526, just east of town. I'm just here tonight on behalf of Bayfield Heritage Days. We had a very successful event on the last Saturday of September, as usual, and we've already had one sort of debriefing and planning meeting for next year, 2025, which will be the quarter century of Heritage Days. That's pretty exciting. It was a great event. Lots of very happy people. Mostly happy sheep, you know.
The ones that were painted.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope the
like
Rotary
that.
event was very successful. I haven't heard, but I'm sure that was very successful. We'd like to thank the town for all of its support and all the personal help from the town manager, from the department heads, and from all the staff. It was, you know, really invaluable to have everybody out there helping and all the planning that went into it in advance. You all probably know this was our first year as operating as a 501c3 independent company, or nonprofit organization. The fact that the town graciously waived the fees this year was a huge help to the Bayfield Heritage Days, and then not only waived the fees but was out in force to help support the event. So thanks very much, and we'll be back next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Marion.
Thank you.
Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana Drive. Just a quick update to the board on the Parks Committee. We're meeting again once more this month, but we have 2 weeks left in the survey. And then we'll bring you those results in November, so you can kind of take a look at that and see what your citizens would like to see as far as expanding the current parks, improving the current parks, and adding to the current parks. So we had a really good kind of finish. I think we're going to probably hit about 400 residents, which is actually good. Doesn't sound like much, but it's not bad. We also approached the school regarding the skate park, so that you know, Trustee Laura, and they were, actually my wife kind of went over there, but they're a little bit unreceptive to that. They don't want propaganda, any flyers, any booths, any handouts at any of the school functions. So we have no way to get that feedback from the kids unless they do the survey, just so you know. But it's been a good cross-section of the community, and I look forward to kind of working over the long haul on that and kind of making it happen. So thank you for your support in that, and we'll give you updates, if not at the end of October, sometime about the middle or end of November. Thank you.
Brian,
Thank you.
did they tell you give you any particular rationale for why they don't want the kids involved in the design?
No, I think it's the same thing you see on a lot of things like that, is that if they do one for one group, then they have to do it for all the groups. And they didn't want to get into that. I kind of explained it was, this is, parks are as much for the kids and the school
More
as
so,
it is
if
for
anything.
anybody. I don't know. that's what we were told, so that's what we're conforming to. So we have no way to really go directly to the
To the
kids.
students, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks
it's
for
unfortunate.
trying.
Thank you for trying, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
they'd be the best ones to do it, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Individually, if you talk to school board members or whatever, pitch it. Can't hurt. We're just asking for feedback. We're not trying to support it or not support it. We just need your feedback. So,
Thank you, Brian.
My name's Richard Hott, and I own 962 East Oak Drive. And I might be in the wrong meeting, because I'm thinking I might be in, the planning board. But I was wondering for, kind of being more involved with the realignment project on Oak Drive. So is that the planning commission, or am I in the right spot here?
What do you mean by, what
So
is it?
it's likely, the East Oak Drive is something that we're working with the school district on. Would you like to kind of get notified when we're actually having those meetings in East Oak Drive?
Please.
So we do have a subscription system on our website.
Okay.
So if you go there and just go to the Board of Trustees and sign up there, then you'll be able to basically subscribe to the Board of Trustees, and that's where it would come probably first, even to come up with that alignment.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public input? Okay, I'll move on to approval of the agenda. I know we just got the letters tonight from people interested in the Board of the vacancy for the trustee. I don't know if the board wants to make a decision or put that off for another 2 weeks or not. That's, I'm just throwing it out there because we did just get all that information when you walked in the door.
I'd like to go ahead and make a decision tonight.
I would agree.
Anybody else?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Based upon that, I might suggest allowing each of the three candidates a few minutes to just make a presentation to you, and perhaps you might have some questions based upon their presentation and also the information contained within their letters.
So item number 7 does give us that. Do we need to add a decision? Do we need to add something to the agenda saying we're going to make a decision tonight?
It is not agendized, but
Right.
as long as you have the three candidates and you're not concerned that other people might apply or are in the process of applying.
Yeah, I think they closed it. Yeah, you're past the due date that they
Okay.
had on it,
Well,
so.
with that being.
It is on the agenda. There was an updated, I don't know if you got the updated agenda or not.
Yeah, so if in fact the deadline has already come and gone for the application, you can proceed.
Okay. Without any adjustments, right?
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Moving on to liquor license renewals. Chavalos Hotel and Restaurant liquor license renewal for 2024.
We got quite a few liquor renewals going this time of year. We do have Chavalos and then followed up by tequilas. I did reach out to staff input on both those, received no negative input.
Does the board have any questions?
No.
No.
I'd like to make a motion that the staff recommends approval of the renewal based on all the information submitted.
For which one?
for the first one, Chavalas, however you pronounce it.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Is there any public input? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes.
Since we already talked about the other one, or at least Dustin did already, I'd like to make a motion to approve the renewal for Tequila's Hotel and Restaurant liquor license for 2024, based on all information submitted.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any public input? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Next up is the 2024 grant request and 2025 partner presentation. First up is the Southwest Colorado SBDC $700 for 2025, and use the remaining for the 2024 grant funds.
Yes, so when I contacted the applicant, I said, you know what, let's just see how this goes today. We have about $900 left in our grant fund. $100 just got coded to the Purple O City for the middle school. So there's $800 left, and I figured if we could just use the last $700, then we could just close that grant application. It does close December 1st anyway, so we're really close to that deadline, and we can just say there's either $100 left, and we'll leave that for a student, or just close it entirely.
I said close it entirely. That was actually going to be my question on how much funds were left and whatnot.
I would agree.
SBDC is a good organization for that. They do a lot for this community when it comes to small businesses and providing them with business plans for free, and just helping small businesses get up and running, and we have a lot of those in this area. So
I would agree.
I'd like to make a motion to award Southwest Colorado SBDC 700 in the 2004.
the 800.
Oh, 800, it says 700. 800 in the 2024 grant cycle, with the caveat that they recognize this award as a 2025 contribution.
And I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any public input? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes.
So I just verify it was for the $800 or for $700?
She said
Okay.
800.
I just wanted to make sure. They'll be happy.
They're a good organization.
Next up is the Roadrunner presentation for $18,000 annual and $7,000 demand response for 2025.
Folks, good evening. I appreciate the opportunity. If we can bring up the first slide there. So some of you know about Roadrunner and some of you do not know about Roadrunner. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Jay Rhodes, for those of you who don't know. I started with Roadrunner back in 2019. Started with compliance and did all their FMSCA, CDL testing and training, and kept them up with their drug and alcohol testing. Lo and behold, they had a vacancy. I've been the director ever since. But I would like to go into the mission statement for those of you who don't know. So we used to be SUCAP, and I don't know if that brings any familiarity, but we're Southern Colorado Community Action Agency. And again, the mission statement is up there. I'm going to read it. So it's with major support from La Plata County, from the towns of Ignacio and Bayfield, And of course, we get 5311 from the Colorado Department of Transportation, so Department of Transit and Rail, which is all FTA money. That's their sub-recipients to that, and so that's how we get funded. We also, we are a pass-through for this Southern Ute tribe. So we manage their transportation programs as well. Roadrunner Transit increases mobility among seniors and persons without cars and licenses, as well of assisting commuters in saving money. And guys, bottom line is the 5 years I've done this, if you would have told me that there was a great need for transit being in a rural area, it's kind of hard to fathom, but I guarantee you as time goes on, and you'll see by the numbers on the graphs that come up, we provide a lot of transportation within the area. And I can give you those numbers. Actually, I'd like to give you those numbers. And if you bear with me and let me put my glasses on, I'll find those.
We want you to do that because otherwise they might be weird numbers.
What's that? I'm sorry?
We want you to put your glasses on,
Oh,
otherwise they
trust
might
me.
be weird numbers.
You'll want me to put my glasses on, yes. All right. So in 2023, guys, so the senior center is part of our agency. We call it New Freedom, but just keep in mind that the Ignacio Senior Center is part of our transit operations. And so they did 1,229 trips in 23. And then, of course, the all dial-a-ride, which is going to be the Southern Ute tribe, and it's going to be, and we expanded in Bayfield, so maybe I should just take a second and tell you, I was here in 22, and we did ask for an experimental program because we received $100,000 from Common Spirit, and that has gone well, and that's the additional $7,000, and we'll put up numbers to show you what's going on there and how that worked. But all the dial-a-ride, including the Southern Ute and including the county DAR that we added in 23, we did 8,774 trips, and on fixed route in 23 we did 3,000. And this does not include the ICB, and I can tell you that ICB, we can probably add another 12,000 to that number, which is not on this list. So so total trips without the ICB is going to be 13,306. So in the county DAR that we started in 22, 23 numbers were not great. They were only 339, and when we bring up the graph, we're going to show you that just in the first quarter of 24 alone, and this includes the Bayfield area. And I don't want to spend a lot of time going through numbers because we don't have it. But I am more than happy to provide financials, which I have if you would like. I can tell you that of the finances that we are asking for, I know that La Plata County, we ask $18,000 of Ignacio. La Plata County this year will do $80,000 to support the county dial-a-ride in the senior center. And then, of course, the funds that we get, the match dollars, are important because, again, I will stress enough that we do not have a tax base. The city of Durango gets some of their funding from the parking revenues and from the meters and so on and so forth. You guys are it. So every dollar that we can get on local match, we get matched federally 2-to-1. So if you have questions, I can show you that, but the local match is where it's at, and we just need the help to exist. I think the past 5 years I've done this, and again, I'm not very good at asking for money. I don't know if you can tell by now. I'm more of the ops guy, and I'm not a salesman, but I do know this. We have a vision, and I had a vision taking this forward. I did not see myself doing this. Here I am, and I am happy to tell you that we didn't purchase the property. We are leasing the old Four Corners building out there, and we have since 22 because we needed a bigger area, and we needed places to house the buses inside. And so I'm happy to say we've got that. It's going well. We received a planning grant because the vision going forward is where we're going to grow, where we're going to put the buses. The community grows. We need to grow with the aging community and the people that need transit. So we got a planning grant from the Colorado Department of Transportation, and I believe that was $47,000. We just received an MMOF to add to that. So we have Michael Cook with Compass Transit. He is currently working on the regional transit plan, and what my vision is to get Bayfield and bring more job opportunities to the Bayfield area so we can get a regional transit facility. Because I do know that Mustang Outrider, which we do provide, I don't know if you guys remember, but we actually added the service to Bayfield in '22. And really the purpose of transportation is to make it work for your residents. And it's to make it work for the community. And it's being responsible with the money that you get from the town of Bayfield, the town of Ignacio. But it's just keep flexing those services and giving more opportunity. So the Mustang Outrider provides daily trips to Grand Junction to Denver, but again, that connects to Greyhound. We also provide transportation now to the airport, so there is no place in La Plata County, including Bayfield, Colorado, that you cannot call up Roadrunner and get to anywhere that you want to go in the nation. And I'm proud to tell you that not many rural communities have that type of transit system. So, and
Just nonstop.
we had a gap in transit, that's where the county DAR came in, because you cannot.
It's off.
Can you guys hear me?
Well, yeah, we can. They probably can't behind you, though.
Need batteries.
So anyways, while she is doing that, the county DAR is specifically meant to flex into the existing services, but it's to get La Plata County, not just to stop a mile outside of Bayfield or a mile outside of Ignacio, because there are too many people that are missing and end up to get that gap, and it's a door-to-door service. So I will tell you, you guys, if you want to go to the airport, you can call an Uber, you can drive your car, but how many of you can go to the airport for $8 and get picked up? It's a good service, and it's a needed service, and the airport services are really starting to pick up as well. So, I'm gonna probably, stop there. So, on the next slide, I also don't want the ones who don't know about Roadrunner, that it's more about transportation on the road. So Southern Colorado Community Action has a huge outreach. We have the youth center that supports a lot of the youth, and it's not just for Ignacio, it's, for the surrounding areas. So we also have, excuse me.
Sorry for the interruption.
You're fine. Thank you. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, better. What else do we have? So we do have the school, and they did partner with the Ignacio School District, so they are now part of that school district, so they're part of education. They do provide a mental health service. They're part of that. It was Peaceful Spirit. Now it's called MST. So they have a huge impact and a huge outreach within the area here, so, and including transportation. So 2022, I told you about this Insure to Health Equity that we're doing. The additional money, the $7,000 would support the county DAR. So that was the original common spirit. It was an experiment at the time, and it looks like the experiment is finally working, and we will move to the next slide. There, a little bit more. So here is the proof. In 2023, they're not great numbers. I wouldn't want to come to anybody and say, yeah, we did 369 riders for 2023. Not great. If you look at the orange and you look at 24, I can tell you that from January 1st to the end of March, we did over 500. So that was the first quarter alone. I don't know where the growth is going to go. I think it's only going to limit we're going to be limited to the amount of funding that we get. We're going to be limited to, employees. It's not easy to hire people. I don't know if anybody's noticed that yet, but it's pretty hard to get employees that will stay at work and really work. But the numbers are in the proof, so Canada continues to grow exponentially, increasing our customer transports more than double in 23's numbers, as I said. Every month this year thus far. I project the further growth to, with the expected expansion of hours and availability of new vehicles. Please take a look at the van. I don't know if anybody has seen the green and white buses going around. We had a lot of aging fleet. I'm happy to tell you that I worked real hard before I left. We procured 4 new vehicles. We did receive MMOF for the Southwest Transportation Region for Region 9, and we got an additional $110,000 to procure another van. So I can tell you that the SWTPR is interested. We've made a difference, and really we'll see what happens with this county DAR. You're going to hear it referred to microtransit. There's going to be a lot of terms. It's in the experimental phases, but I don't know how long we're going to have a fixed route. The fixed route may be phased out, and we may be doing door-to-door services, and we may be doing this with more vans. We want to be, they're all-wheel drive vans, right? They're new. We want reliable. We want safe transportation, and we don't want to pick you up and go to the airport in a 2002 rickety van. I don't think anybody would appreciate that. Next slide. Just take a look, and if you have any questions, then let me know. So this is an outlying area of what we currently service. So everything that you see in the red is going to be the service area of the boundaries. So basically, we're going to go past Red Mesa, almost towards Cherry Creek, and we're going to go clear out towards Arbalese. We're going to go as far north as Vallecito, and we're going to go as far south as 318 in the outskirts there. The goal is we need to be careful how we service and how we do it, because I can tell you, when you do a big area like this, one customer can take 30 minutes or they can take 2 or 3 hours. It just depends on what the needs are of that customer. So you need more vehicles and you need more driver to schedule accordingly. And then, of course, we try to pick up people on the way if we can to help out there. Next slide. So I showed this on the last, and not much of it has changed, but I wanted to do this for some of the folks that are new. Again, Roadrunner Transit, when I came in 2019, we had older vehicles. We had a total of, I think, 7, and 2 of them might have been new. The rest of them were pretty, they were aging and they were older. They didn't have cameras, they didn't have radios, they didn't have a lot of things. And again, a transportation company with the liability and to provide professionalism, we took the money from the COVID. 2020, we saw some major money come through to transportation. There was a lot of that available. That was the time to make the upgrades necessary to the fleet, to make sure that we got cameras and that we were professional with what we were doing. I think we spent, where it's right there, so radios, we put $46,000 into communications equipment. We're looking to do upgrades. We did $21,000 in cameras. And admin fees, subscription fees, that's $5,500. But I can tell you guys that as we grow, as we expand, when you look at an actual communication software, things like that, I had to sit down, because to get a decent communication software, it's going to cost us around $150,000 to about $250,000. So we need to keep working on that. Next slide, please. Soka RT received 2 brand new replacement cutaways, which allowed us to retire 2 of the older vehicles. Tribal Dar received a new all-wheel drive, which you see right there, the van added to the fleet. And then the County Tar program received the same one. It's an all-wheel drive. Hopefully the colors look better, a little bit more appealing. But again, new vehicles helps us. They cost, those cutaways were $140,000 a piece. The vans were $110,000 a piece. But I can tell you, when you have older vehicles and you have overhead and you have fuel expenses, the newer vans are going to cut down on the cost, right, of the preventative maintenance, and that's going to help out and save in those areas. I think really responsibly, and the reason why I'm here again, it takes money to run transportation in a fleet, and we do get CDOT money from 5311, and that's what bought those two cutaways. The two vans were bought with FTA money from the Tribal Dar, and then that county van, we had additional money with the 5311, and that's what bought that. And I can tell you, with the success and the transportation going to the airport, the SWTPR, again, has paid attention to what's going on there. They've looked at the numbers. That's why we got the extra van, and I do know that Fort Lewis College, I know Pueblo Community College, I know the Economics Alliance, they're all looking into this. They're all looking to put money towards it. And again, it's not about asking just certain people. I don't know where the future's going with this. You know, we live in some uncertain times, and it's scary to me to know with what's happening currently where the money's going to come from. So we don't want to put anything in place that's not going to be sustainable, right? And so that's going to be up to myself and my coworkers to properly manage this thing. Next slide. Again, I just wanted to bring this up. So the financial ability to accomplish expanded services, technology upgrades, and bus maintenance and replacements will be challenging past 23. And let's face it, it's challenging every year. The town of Bayfield faces it, and you guys make decisions every year on who gets what. It's always going to be a challenge. So you got to be frugal with the money, but you have to have a vision to move forward and keep things going. Local financial support is greatly appreciated. As always, every dollar raised federally is matched 1-to-1, which means $1 raise equals $2 for the RRT services. And this is why Ignacio and Bayfield, it's critical that we get the support. And again, I think what's happened in the past is I can't tell you. Actually, I shouldn't say that for my counterparts, right? Maybe I shouldn't say anything about it, but I do know this. I know that Bayfield was not served the way it should have been several years ago. I think that you guys honestly were kind of in the dark of things because you never really saw what the financial or what the ridership impacts were, right? You didn't see it. So why would you give something that you wouldn't know those numbers? And so I'm here to tell you, any questions after this, I'll answer. Katie knows, and I can get those to Katie, but I can give you financials. And again, we are audited. Transit grew from, we were probably about $500,000 a year before I started it. And I've been there for 5 years, and now we went from about $500,000 to a couple $1 million. So we grew it grew fast. I think if anybody knows me, the town of Bayfield, I don't really sell things or articulate it well, but operationally, we have come a long ways with the service expanded, with the money that we've gotten, and again, it's grown. I can tell you it's grown a lot. That Whiffley is a auditing company, which they outsource, and they go through the books every year because transit's grown so much. So I can give you whatever information you guys would like on that. Are there any questions so far?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Good.
I've been on the board for quite a few years, so
Yes.
I've seen the changes. So I really appreciate the presentation you gave today. Some of the issues in the past have always been that we pay the same amount that Ignacio does, but they get like way more stops in Ignacio than we do, but we're paying the same amount, or
Okay.
we're asked to pay the same amount, I should
Right.
say. Can you confirm again what is Ignacio being asked for?
All right, so Ignacio's going to be asked, we're actually going to ask the same amount from Ignacio. We're going to ask for the $7,000. And it's only 7,000 because, again, we get a lot of, we also get federal money right from CDOT. So I'm not going to, I don't know. I don't want to ask any more for what we're going to ask Ignacio for. I'd like it to ask it equally across the board. I will tell you that that's a good point. Never thought about it like that.
It's
So,
been my contention the entire time. So I
Well-
always have a hard time with it because I feel like we are paying more than
Right.
Ignacio does. And that, to be honest, that is not okay. I mean,
So
it just
Ignacio,
isn't.
well, I'll tell you why, Ignacio. If you look at, this is what, I can tell you exactly why. Remember, Ignacio is also has a Southern Ute tribe there.
Mhm.
And they pay as well. And a lot of that comes, that's a lot of their tribal dollars. So we service the post office. See how many stops we do there. We do the post office, we do the senior center, we do the hardware store, so there's 3 stops, and then we go to the tribal complex, so we go to Leonard Seed Birch, there's 4. Then we go to the growth fund, there's 5, and then we go to the casino, there's 6. And then we head on and we go towards Bayfield. And I know in Bayfield we have like 2 stops, yeah. But remember, the one thing, I'll tell you the one thing that Ignacio doesn't have, and I'm not going to go there. That's why I wanted to put in the ICB stop and give you that 3rd stop and give Bayfield the opportunity, because people have to go from Ignacio to Bayfield if they want to catch the big bus that goes to Grand Junction. So, and if you want more stops, that's not a problem. We can add more stops. It's all about the ridership and the numbers, and I'd love to talk to you about that. You want more stops? That's doable. So,
That would be something that we would have to ask the citizens if they're getting what they need. And has that been done for Bayfield at all?
surveys need to go out, and that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you're asking. And so, I left.
Don't get me wrong, I totally support the transit. I
Right.
totally support your organization and don't feel that way. I just want to make it equitable and fair for
No.
our citizens.
So Brenna, listen, it's fine, and I'm not offended at all. I'm in this thing to make a difference, and we're in it, that's all we're here for, is to provide transportation and make a difference for everybody. So if more stops is what's needed, but the way to do this and be responsible is to probably just put out a survey and get the input from the citizens, because they're the ones that ride the bus, and they'll know best. And I can tell you that I was gone from Roadrunner probably about 8 months or 9 months. A lot of it was due to health issues. Let's just say that it almost gave me a heart attack trying to deal with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm
I
sorry
never
to
thought
hear
it
that.
would. No, that's okay. So you'd ask why I'm back. I'll tell you why I'm back, because I saw the time that I was gone, and the length of time I was gone, we had a lot of problems, and it diminished. Things were not being accomplished, and everything that I had put in the sweat and the hard work for, it took about 7 months to lose about 2 years' worth of work.
Wow, that sucks.
So, I am here to tell you that, we're here to do whatever we need to do. And if that's to put more stops in Bayfield, and if that's what the people of Bayfield want, then that's what we're going to do. Because obviously they're our customers.
Where are you stopping at now? I know you stopped over by the library.
Well, we actually stop over here too. So we stop right here. We stop at the library. We also stop east of town
At the gas station?
at the gas station. And then Gym Village is actually incorporated, and we stop there as well. So, yes,
On the business route,
yes.
and coming out of Mesa, I've seen the bus stop in the morning and pick people up in there.
Yep.
So, I
Be-
mean, I don't know if they flag it down or how, but they get.
Might be dial
Well,
ride.
and that's the other thing. So what we did is we incorporated those areas. So if you remember, like Homestead Ranches and all those places, they were not ever in there. Why would you do that, right? So we do go in there, and remember, it's by request. It's a deviated fixed route. So anybody in the town of Bayfield can actually call, and they can get a ride.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then you just have the one route from Bayfield at 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at the night going to Durango? Or are there other options?
There are other options,
What are what's the other scheduled routes for?
I wish I
going
were,
to Durango?
you would ask me, right? You would think I'd know. That's what my lead driver's supposed to do.
How many people are you servicing in Bayfield compared to Ignacio, Durango, other areas?
So I'll tell you where we get the best numbers in Bayfield. On the fixed route, we have 2 riders that ride it consistently. And then other than that, it's a hit and miss type of proposition. If they call them, we'll pick them up. I would say the fixed route on a daily basis, we have about 8 to 12 ride the fixed route, and most of it's due to employment or with employment, which doesn't diminish it, right? It's federally funded, and that's what it's there for. But what's really picked up, and a lot of those numbers that you saw on the county DAR, and what you saw on, like, I can tell you that those numbers that I just gave you for the DAR, 25%, almost 30% of those are Bayfield residents, but they use the demand response routes. And that's what I'm here to tell you is we can probably, I've thought about this last year and I'm back and I'm still thinking about this. It's like we could take out the fixed route theoretically, right? It's really not conducive to what's going on. However, I do have people that ride that bus early in the morning that need it for employment. So really, if you think about that, it's not just the few. If we were smart, and we are smart with what we're doing, we'll take the county DAR and we'll flex that into our existing services because it's about connectivity for the customers. So the ridership numbers are going to be skewed. I can tell you that the ICB, I thought we'd really have more ridership with the big bus going to Denver. Rarely do we pick up anybody at the library. Rarely. Most of our numbers come from Durango, Cortez, Montrose, and Grand Junction, or the majority of those numbers. But again, when I left, the biggest thing with transportation is, and the biggest thing that Roadrunner has probably hurt is marketing.
I was going to say, I don't think a lot of people know that
they
can
don't.
go from Bayfield to.
No, they don't, right? And so, again, we get your funds, we get the federal funds, but it's hard to use some of that money for marketing because you have to stay within the certain parameters of what that is. I don't want to go into the weeds because there are some other things that are going on at the building. I can tell you that I have Michael Cook, and I mentioned from Winter Park. He built he didn't do it. They built a $26 million facility in Winter Park. And so where that facility is located on 521, the old Four Corners building, and we're going to do a needs analysis because we're in that too. We're looking for some other property. It may be better to build it from scratch, right? It just depends on, it's going to depend on how the feasibility study works out and the analysis, and we got to go through the NEPA, the whole thing. So this is going to be several years. I really think that Roadrunner, and I tried to incorporate this with my last lady that was, Lori Ewald was the development director at the time. And the one thing I really tried to push forward with Roadrunner is I'm not sure, you got to be a business, right? Just because you're nonprofit, you just can't depend on money being there, because I tell you, if you rely on the formula money coming in, and we rely on Bayfield every year, one of these days it's not going to be there, And so I've taught CDL and instructed CDL, and I'll tell you, one of our biggest things that are going on right now is we do not have a place for CDL testing and training. And I know that you guys are unaware of this, and I'll make you a little bit aware, and I'll answer more questions, and I'll talk to you, but I do work for PCC, and we are going to use that facility down there, and we are going to do testing and training for CDL. And this is going to be the opportunity for Roadrunner in the future to get some non-grant money. I've got some visions. I'd like to see non-grant built up to $250,000 or $500,000 sitting non-grant at all times. I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. That's the way everybody else. But it's possible. But again, this is in the weeds, and this is not connected to Roadrunner. I want to be clear. They are aware of it, and hopefully with PCC, and we're going to do a test run on this, and we'll see what the next 6 months bring, but I do know that the city of Durango, possibly Bayfield, possibly La Plata County, there will be a CDL testing and training facility. It's going to be right out here. It's going to be happening here. And again, I don't want to see 8, 9 buses or 10 buses. I want to see like 30 or 40 buses out there. I want to see the Outrider connecting to Pagosa Springs, going to Denver, and I would like to see that opportunity come here.
You have to build. Bayfield's a great place to come and build.
I hear you. There's no deadhead coming from Bayfield. That's the beautiful thing. It eliminates deadhead. So
I would like to see your financials, and I think I need a clearer picture of your ridership for, say, like the last 5 years.
Okay.
If you could give me better numbers, and then if that could be broken down for Bayfield, Ignacio, Durango, and county customers, I'd like that.
yeah, absolutely.
I'd also like to better understand how many are utilizing your reservations, better understanding with that.
Okay.
I've been trying to follow you.
Yep.
I'm missing that kind of data. I'm a data person, and
Okay.
it breaks down for me. I would like to say that I think it's a very needed service. I just want to make sure that the service that you're providing really benefits our community. And, you know, back in the early days when I first got married, we had one car, and we lived in Salt
Right.
Lake. We lived in, actually, Ogden, Utah, and I had to ride a bus from Ogden, Utah into Salt Lake for work 6 days a week. And we made 1 million stops down a county road all the way from point A to point B, and I had to leave at the crack of dawn. So I understand the need for on demand. And then if I could also get a breakdown of costs. So I understand that you're saying it's $8 for every reservation ride, or is
No,
that
it's not. So the $8 is going to be for an airport service.
Okay.
So that'll pick you up anywhere in La Plata County, right?
Okay.
Doesn't matter how far away you are.
Got it.
In Bayfield, to go, if you need a ride from Bayfield, let's say you need to be picked up from, let's say from the city hall, and you need to go to, I don't know, to the dentist office. That's kind of crazy. They can walk there. Anywhere in Bayfield's going to be $1. If you want to
Okay.
go from Bayfield to Ignacio, that's going to be $2 per trip.
Great. I'd love that in writing so I could have that information. That would be awesome.
Ma'am, we do NTDs, and our lives are filled with reports and numbers, so you'll have them.
Perfect. Perfect. I kind of wish I would have had that now, but this is great.
Yep,
This is
no
great.
problem.
They do have some information on their website. as well.
And there is too. There is the website, but we can give you breakdowns.
Not
I
all
mean,
the data
But I
you want.
think I'm hearing people in the audience going, whoa, I didn't know that. So again, going back to your
publicity.
advertising and getting the word out, I think that that's really important. So,
I understand. I wished I had an advertising budget. That's where it gets difficult.
Katie, what did we pay last year? Do you remember?
18,000 is our partnership that we had with Roadrunner for 2024. And in 2023, I believe it was 18,000 as well.
Yep.
The request for 2025 is 18,000 plus the $7,000 is demand response, and that's why he's here. Well, he's here to explain both requests.
Well, I understand the 18,000. Can you maybe explain the 7,000 demand response? Why do you call it a demand response?
I can explain it, absolutely. So let's get into this. And I broke this down because I knew that would be asked. So I have some numbers here that are broke down. And this is going to be broken down into 2 quarters. So so a non-CDL driver, which we would have to use for the, we don't have to, but that would be the driver for the county DAR. So a non-CDL driver is going to cost us $26.74 per hour, and that includes the fringe, right? So they're making $18.94 an hour. You add the fringe on that, which is going to be the insurance and all the other things that we add. Because remember, our employees get full benefits, so they're offered optical, dental, and life, and they're actually eligible for a 401k after a year on those. So $18.94 an hour is their wages. You add the fringe, that comes to $26.74 an hour, and that's going to be $55,618.47 for one employee. Again, we got another van that just cost us $110. Actually, it didn't cost anything. It was $110,000. And the good thing about that is usually we have to come up with a match, a 20% match. That 20% match is waived, so the full cost of that was allocated from the SWTPR. So we got the full allotment of the 110 to purchase the van. So it's going to cost me $55,618 for that additional person. And then, of course, here I've got our maintenance, and it cost us, it's going to be $15,724 every 6 months. So basically, we're going to be running at least $30,000 on preventative maintenance for several vans.
Okay. Thank you for explaining.
You bet. And that's where the additional, so, the 7,000 is not going to cover that, but it's
No,
going to help cover that.
Yep. You get it from everybody, then
Yep.
you get double because you're $1
Exactly,
to
exactly.
every dollar you get $1, so. Thank you. I don't have any other questions, but it sounds like we need more info before we make a decision.
Yeah, I'd like to see some ridership numbers.
Okay.
Is there any other questions from the board? Does the public have any questions?
Jay, I have one for you.
What's that?
Did you say that you guys also get funding from the Southern Indian Tribe?
Guys, I'm here to tell you that we don't get funding from Southern Ute Tribe. We used to, and I'm going to go to them because if they want their DAR services to continue, we're going to be running out of deficit this year of $50,000. So the decision's going to have to be made on what they want to do, and again, we're going to go to them. We're going to present them if they want the same level of service. So we expanded the ridership to the airport for the demand response for the tribal, and we also added Bayfield to get them over here to the shopping, to the dentist, library, things like that. So again, these things all cost money. I will give you the breakdowns of what you need. Again, preventative maintenance, I can tell you, depending on the size of the vehicle, one of those cutaways is $140,000. To keep those things serviced on B services, I pay Denver, the guy that's just right over here. Matter of fact, I'll get you that breakdown. I spend well over $250,000 a year in just maintenance with that for the fleets. So the tribe used to give that money. I hope they're going to donate money because I'll tell you, I've ran it for the past 4 years. They used to give $70,000 a year, and then when Head Start dissolved, all that disappeared, and there was some politics involved in it, and I don't know enough about it, so I won't comment on it. But again, we've taken the money that we've gotten, we've expanded the services, we've upgraded the fleets, we've done what we've needed to do, but it takes money to keep it sustained.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. We appreciate you, and I'll have that stuff sent to you pretty
Great.
quick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the minutes and department reports. First up is the October 1st, 2024 minutes.
I saw one typo on page 2 where the word manager is referred to as manger. So you might want to add an A or two.
And I also saw misspelling. It should have been feels, not fells.
Spell check must have got away from me.
Otherwise, I feel that the minutes are correct.
So you'll want to change your motion to a motion to approve with the corrections identified.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections identified for the regular meeting, October 1st, 2024 minutes.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Next up is Public Works.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, trustees. I did put together a September staff report for you. Couple things to point out. We are seeing our locate request drop. So July, we were up in the hundreds. Last month, 56, 36. So you're seeing construction start to wind down a little bit. We're getting through the majority of the construction season. We got Public Works is working on hydrant flows. We had a good water year. So we're actually going to go through and confirm the flow testing. We want to run every hydrant this year, so that'll be ongoing for the next couple of weeks. We did get the jet router repaired. PTO went in. We fixed it in-house. We spent a lot of money on that truck this year. You'll see it in the sewer vehicle maintenance. So is what it is. But jet routing's back up and operational, so we're going to start with our high priority lines, some of the ones we've had backups on, and get back to maintenance. Storm drains did get put in on Lupine. That was one of the major priorities from the flooding that we saw a couple years ago. So those are installed and paved and operational. So that'll be a huge improvement for that location. What else do I have in here? Basically, we're putting away weed operations, getting snow plows out, getting ready for snow. Hopefully we'll see some this year, just not yet. Not quite ready yet. But yeah, and then actually, I did provide the wastewater inflows, and when you look in the daily inflows and that average, you can see in there too, that blue line in 22, when you have that's a storm event. So when you're looking at those, when you see those big rainstorms, you'll see that in the daily inflows, and you'll see we're getting some of that I that we're hoping to correct next year, starting next year. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Did I not get the memo about blowing all your leaves into the street to have the city come and pick them up? I mean, is there something going on with that? I know Dove Ranch, people are putting all their leaves into the road.
They shouldn't be going out in the street.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the magical disappearing leaves like the snow and everything else. I think if it goes into the road, that it does go away. But we will be.
I mean, it's
I know.
insane. And you guys were bleeding out the hydrants today.
Yeah.
And they were just all, and I'm looking at that thinking of our stormwater issues, and I'm like, so I don't know what we do to inform our neighbors that ain't right.
They shouldn't be grass clippings. We
Oh
see
yeah,
grass
no,
clips
they're
and stuff
just
too.
piling them out into the gutter right now.
But yeah, they're
so-
starting to come down, so you'll see that in the next, through the beginning of November, we'll start
Yeah.
collecting those as well too.
Okay, all right. I just thought maybe I missed a memo, that you guys were doing that as a lovely service for the town.
No, we didn't send the memo out.
Yeah.
And a shared use pass. So they've been placing concrete. I don't know if you guys have been
looks
up in the business
great.
district.
Yeah.
They'll be pouring more concrete today. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's all starting to come back together. So that'll be a great improvement for the town.
Really nice. It looks good. I mean, it's coming along really well.
Yeah.
That truck you were talking about, is it going to last next year, or is it on the budget, or?
It'll last
Okay.
next year.
Not well?
Yeah.
Just plan for it?
And so we got it used. It's a combo truck. So we can do hydro excavation with it as well. And we've just had some issues. There's 2 different PTOs that are connected to the transmission. Both of them need to kick on to achieve high pressure. So right now, it's working. We have the PTO in. We're going to go run it and see if we can break it. And then we'll get back with Joe Johnson, you know.
Katie's like, oh no.
Yeah, so far so good.
Things you don't want to say at a town board meeting. See if we'll break it.
Well, we gotta see if it's gonna run. But for the last 6 months, it has been limited. So it will still operate in case of emergency. If we do get a backup, we have that resource prior to replacing that PTO part. So now it should be fully operational. And we want to get it back out and test it and make sure that the repairs that were suggested by Joe Johnson Equipment is actually going to repair the machine. So that's why I say to get out and break it. We want to get out and run it and make sure that it's back to full operations.
I knew what you meant. I was just giving you a hard time. Thank you.
I had a quick question on the concrete, the sidewalk, you guys went 6 inches instead of 4.
Yep.
What was the reasoning on that? So the trucks can drive on it to plow?
Yeah, it's for vehicle strength. So with 4 inches, we'd probably be fine with like a pickup or like a RTV. But if we do have to get like a piece of equipment, a backhoe or something heavier on there, they suggested the tensile strengths of the 6 inches versus the 4, so we're not cracking it.
Yeah,
And that's the reasoning behind
I
it.
kind of figured, I just wanted to, thanks for that.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
Mayor, board, September, the most important thing, if you look at, is our numbers from 2023 to 2024. We went from 282 calls to 470. It's a 67% increase, but a lot of this has to do with Spillman. We are actually extracting the proper data now on our calls for service, but we are busier than what we've always been, and that comes with the 2 new officers having a lot more. I want to be out in the roads. I want to be out there stopping cars. I want to be involved. So they're more proactive now, and it's kind of getting the other officers to be proactive because they don't look like they're not. So we are a lot busier now. And I did have a meeting with the captain of Colorado State Police the other day. We talked about traffic accidents. And she said there's been a noticeable reduction on 160 in the Bayfield area. She's new to the area, so she wasn't aware of the IGA we have with the county. So our extra patrol efforts on 160 have really reduced the traffic accidents on 160.
Nice.
So our presence has been very noticeable with them and within our own community. If we go back up to the monthly summary, there was a lot of SIRSA training in September, a lot. We also had 2 parades. One was a homecoming and one was Heritage Days, and they both went off very, very well. They were both very well attended, and it was very well for all of us that were involved. We do, with recruitment, we have 1 open position. I'm working with HR, Marie, now, and we did an advertisement. I do have a couple already emailed me and interested. 2 of them are post-certified.
Nice.
I got another one that might be interested. He's post-certified. And that helps us out tremendously. We don't have to do the academy and all that stuff. We just can get through FTO and put them on the road. I talked with one today for about 45 minutes, and I turned the number over to Dustin, who also talked to him for about 45 minutes. He goes, I think he's coming. I said, okay, well, let's just see how this goes. So recruitment's going pretty well for us. And speaking of training, Officer Rittenhausen was released from FTO yesterday, so he's on the road, so slow down. He likes to stop car. But he's doing very well, and I was teasing him. I released him from FTO yesterday at 12. At 1 o'clock, he did a vehicle stop. He had his first arrest on his own. He was on his way to jail. So I said, okay, I'm expecting this every time now. No, he's doing very well. When it comes to development, I found out the first line supervisor course is going to be in February of 2025. I have a couple officers I'm going to be sending to that. And Alex is doing a tremendous job with her new role as a detective. She's doing still patrol and detective, but she focuses mainly on our cases that we got to start resolving and working with the DA's office. They sent another shopping list of stuff that we're going to have to start doing now, and she's on top of it. Outside of that, the team is working very well together. We're gearing up for winter. We're getting ready for all that, and October is a busy month already, so we'll see how things keep going for us. I'm enjoying it.
Like to hear it. That's great.
Any questions? Thank you. HR?
Good evening. Well,
first off, I want to start by saying on Monday, we had a party in the office today, on Monday. Thanks to Katie. We had a mailing that went out, is going out, so hopefully you receive our wonderful packets that we've sent you. But Katie, probably this weekend, I don't know how many hours she spent preparing, printing, organizing, putting that all together. And then on Monday, Josh, we had 3 Public Works people, Kristen, Kathy, Katie, myself, Emilio, who else?
Renee.
Yep, and Renee, our new temp, all participated pretty much from 8 o'clock to 4:30. So it was a full hands-on deck. There was music playing. I think we had a pretty good time. Yes, we neglected our duties for the day, but we got the mailing out. So I just want to say thank you to all staff and for Katie for putting that all together.
Thank you.
All right, so on my report, in September, I feel like it's so long ago, I attended the CML meeting. And let's see, for the Community Development Director position, we did bring one applicant here. He attended the Planning Commission last week, and he actually found another position. So we had interviewed 2 out of the 5 interviews that we scheduled for a Planner 1 position. We could revisit that. We probably need to just go back to the drawing board. So unfortunately, that did not end as much as we hoped, and kind of goes into, at the end, talking about utility billing position and kind of restructuring that. Not having a community development director is adding more duties to the front office, to Public Works, and we've got to figure this out. So we've kind of had a couple meetings and trying to figure out who's doing what, because we already know we're a small office, we're short-staffed, so really trying to figure that out to make it manageable for the staff, but we're trying. Kristen and I are working with the payroll department to get all of the information they need so we can start payroll. The goal is going to be October 25th, with just a few weeks. We don't exactly know if we can do it because there's a lot of paperwork involved, but we are going to try. Again, thank you for approving that. We're excited to get that started. I am still in the process of trying to connect our clearinghouse account with our FMCSA account. I needed a PIN, I got sent a PIN, then I click on that to verify the account, and I haven't received anything back. So I have to follow up. It just seems like there's one thing after another. And for our utility billing position, we have Emilio, who is stepping up to do mornings. We also found a temp from Express to do afternoons. So we've got that covered until we find someone to hire full-time. We just interviewed 2 people today, and then we also have another interview, possibly another tomorrow in the coming weeks. So hopefully we'll have good news for that. I launched a benefit survey for our staff to see how satisfied they were with our current benefits and what they'd like to see for 2025. Had 20 people fill that out, so that was great. I'd say the top response is that they do want choice in insurance benefits. They would like lower deductibles, and then equal % of premiums across the board for all the benefits plans. I've received 1 medical rates for 2025 and still waiting for the other 2. So hopefully this week, if not next week, we'll get that so we can present that to you in November. And you didn't present today, did you? But we had our new lead wastewater operator start at the end of September. Nice. Any questions?
Well, I'm very concerned about the lack of personnel in our community development. I realize you guys have been buried with budget and just trying to sort of stabilize things. I guess we will get a report on plans as you guys try to sort out what's going to be the best thing to do. I know how difficult it is to hire for that position, but I'm really concerned about that piece. We have developments in play right now, permitting, all kinds of challenges, and I know I'm not saying this to frustrate or overwhelm the staff. I'm saying this that I am concerned. And so I feel like that needs to be a priority. I want to get you guys the right help as soon as we can get it. I think that's a top priority based on what I know is out there and what you guys need. So, you know, I think that you guys are the best ones to figure out a plan and then let us know what that is. But if you need me, come to leadership meetings, any support I can offer you, not to get into the weeds of personnel at all, but just to say what can I do to help you guys through this transition period. I feel like I'm willing to do that, so please be free to ask me or let me know what you need.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the financial agenda. September 24 financial statement.
Good evening. The report that I presented to you in your packet this evening represents the month of September, which is the end of the third quarter of 2024. In the general fund, we've received our county and city sales tax for the month of July, as well as a small portion of late property taxes, our oil and gas royalties, our cigarette tax, and our share of motor vehicle tax that's collected by the county. These are taxes that we receive on a monthly basis. This fund has also received building permit fees this month, bringing that line item up to what was anticipated revenue at this point. We have spent $31,577 in capital improvement projects in the general fund. This included expenses for park benches and tables, graphics and outfitting for the 2021 Dodge Durangos, and 2 radar units. This fund is currently $82,679 expenses over revenue. However, like I tell you every month, we are 2 months behind in collection of county and city sales tax. And we also have 2 quarters. We haven't billed for the third quarter or the fourth quarter for SRO or the HIDA reimbursement grants. So we still have those funds yet to receipt for this year. In the Conservation Trust Fund, we have received our third quarter payment of lottery funds already. In the Sewer Fund, fees are trending as expected. On-call and overtime are a little high in that fund. And we're currently 42,000 expenditures over revenue, but we are 1 month behind in collection of utility bills. We're always a month behind in collection of those fees. You'll notice in the stormwater fund that we have completed our second billing of the stormwater
So
fund.
I just want to stop because we didn't bill in September. So we didn't bill in September. So that's what would create that. Because remember, we didn't have a billing in September. I just want to make
There's
sure.
billing numbers in the financial statement.
I know, but the actual bills in September, there was no amount that got billed, so there wouldn't be a revenue.
Okay.
I mean, maybe there's just something we can check, but.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry.
In the water fund, water sales are trending as expected at this point. Penalties and interest are still trending high, and the water station is a little less than anticipated. And that fund is currently $18,000 revenue over expenditures. And just like sewer fund, we're 1 month behind in collection. The garbage fund, we are right where we're supposed to be. We are 1 month behind in billing, as far as 1 month behind in collecting. We're Republic Services is behind in billing us, so we're behind there. We will be caught up by the end of the year. In the street fund, we've received July's city sales tax as well as HUTF and a few dollars in right-of-way fees. In this fund, we are currently $954,000 expenditures over revenue. This balance is due to a lagging collection of sales tax and grant reimbursements, along with capital improvement projects that were meant to spend down this fund. This fund will also collect natural gas franchise fees and the remaining quarterly payments for TV franchise fees and the county road and bridge fund. But the natural gas fee we don't get but once a year, so we won't get that until the end of the year. And total interest this month in Color Trust was $43,088. So we're still doing good on interest. And that's it. And sales tax is still moving in a positive direction.
I have one question, but
Sure.
I don't know if it's necessarily for you
Uh-huh.
or for Katie, but rates have changed. So I expect that there's a potential drop in the rates for Color Trust, and
Mhm.
it's already evident by the
Yes.
difference in the amounts. Did we take that into consideration on our budget? And if we didn't, can we? Okay.
I did
Okay.
take that into
I
consideration.
figured you did, but I just wanted to ask. Thank you. No other questions? For me, anyways.
Any other questions?
I have one more. The stormwater fee relief, should people take advantage of that, will we see that in the utility relief account? Is that in that account, or we'd see that in the stormwater account?
You're just going to see less revenue
Okay,
in the stormwater account for those that got waived.
okay. When I saw that utility relief account, I thought maybe that's what that was for, but I just wanted to verify that.
So currently, right now, it's in the garbage fund, and that's relief from water, sewer, and garbage that's getting charged to that account. Next year, it'll just reduce the revenue for those that are eligible.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the September 2024 financial statement.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Sales tax report.
The sales tax report, we're still trending in good, so hopefully that stays.
And then the Cassell Cloud old business.
Yeah, let me just get there. So, you did ask that we go ask for recommendations for the Cassell Cloud. Finance Director Cath Cart basically went out to the listserv for CML finance directors. And there are 2 emails, 2 responses that said that they had no problem with it. We will save $1,500, even though it's $2,100 or almost $2,200 a month. We will be spending $3,600 if we go with data safes. And so plus we also have more time that it would take for those downloads. So, and that's some of the server work that they have currently in their contract with us at this time that we would save.
Well, this sounds like this is good information. I know that this has been a bane of Minnie's existence, so I feel I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, getting the references of the 2 people saying that they had no issues really resolves my worry, because the other Cazell issues.
I also spoke to Corey Griffiths this morning from Forest Lakes Metro, and Forest Lakes actually uses Cassell Cloud as well.
Nice.
And they're very happy with it as well.
Sweet.
Excellent.
Sounds
Great.
like good overall.
Yep.
Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Cassell Cloud quote paying annually to save 5%.
I will second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Katsas?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. KRW Town Manager Recruitment Proposal.
Yeah, so that is not in the packet. That was delivered pretty late on Friday afternoon, so you have it. I copied it for the board. It was a packet on our website as well.
So I've reviewed this, Katie, and I used to work for a national recruiter, so I know what it takes to search and find and go through the entire process to find a qualified candidate. Since I'm not sure how things were done clearly with the town before, when your last town manager left and you were brought in, but nothing in here says anything about an interim. And the one thing that concerns me is if we were to go with this exact schedule, we probably won't have a town manager until late March, maybe even early April. That could potentially be 3 to 4 months without leadership. Do you know if there's someone that would step in the interim?
So Leslie Klusmeyer, she runs a business and she does interim work. She did contact Marie.
Okay.
I think she has some interest in that.
Okay.
You know, if you would like, it's got to be your decision that
Right.
you direct myself or Marie at a meeting as a decision to determine if you want an interim.
Yeah.
And what you want to do. How do you want to get that interim? I mean, if you just direct us to find an interim, but it would still be your interview process.
Correct. Well, I think it's necessary, personally. The staff is already extremely challenged, and I feel like any relief and, I mean, just look at your agenda packets alone. I mean, the work that goes into that. I can't imagine any one of these staff members trying to step up and fill that role. So I personally would like to have the consideration of an interim and maybe get some profile information on this individual or whatever that we can look at. But it sounds like you've had experience with this person in the past.
Yes.
Okay. That works for me also. The fact that you've had experience with this person, you feel that there's capability and quality there.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with her on all the points. We can't have a break in no town manager. It's super important, I think, to support the staff with somebody.
So, yeah, I'd like to put this out and see if we can get at least a couple people that are interested, so we have some choices to make. Or a couple people to choose from, I guess that's a better way
Okay,
of phrasing
so,
that.
so you have a public hearing on the 5th. I don't know really what that, I mean, you know, we really love the public to show up to a public hearing, because that's what the budget's all about. But, you know, we can certainly see if we'll put out a call, CML for interim, and, you know, those that are interested, just ask them to be here or via Zoom. I just want to make sure that you're okay with Zoom.
I'm way
just
okay
in
with
case,
Zoom.
Yeah.
We don't have time to, like, have them get travel plans and that sort of thing, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'm okay with the Zoom also.
I agree also.
I'm good with it.
Do we still need to do this though as well? So
Yes.
I want to do both.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do
that's,
too.
that's really up to
That's what
the
I was
board.
looking at.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's other headhunters besides KRW. Are we interested in trying to get another number from somebody to see if they're in line or not?
I was impressed with this KRW. They've serviced so many Colorado municipalities, and I feel like the chief's nodding his head. He's had experience with them. Again, I don't feel like we have a lot of time the way that this is played out, and their pricing seems to be right based on my experience with working with headhunters. I didn't see anything that screamed at me that this was out of line.
Yeah, and I was actually there when we hired Katie, and we used this organization, and they gave us lots of qualified candidates, and their process was very good. They interviewed everybody. They gave them a rank of what they thought was best to least, and reasons as to why they thought so. I just thought it was nice to have that extra third party that's a professional and knows municipalities and knows the strengths of those type of applicants to weigh in on it. And so I thought I don't have any problems with them again and doing it for us. We didn't go wrong really with it the first time.
I know they have a record. The quote seems in line, but I don't see any reason why we can't get another quote just to make sure that it's in line, and also to see what the time schedule is with another organization. I know we're coming up on the holidays, and that makes a difference, but I would like to see another quote and a time frame. And town attorney can provide guidance on whether or not the board seeks additional quotes. Is there anything we need to be concerned about with looking for additional quotes?
No,
Okay.
other than the time limitations that you might be under,
Right.
those considerations, but there's
Yeah.
nothing from a legal perspective.
Normally, I would be in total agreement with you, but I think with our time constraints, we should be very cognizant of that piece of it, because of the support the staff needs.
But they can't start until February.
Well, it's not that. KRW doesn't set the timeline. They are
Right.
reasonably stating that finding a qualified applicant will probably take this long. If we were so lucky that a qualified applicant showed up and everything aligned, they could be hired by the end of February or something. But they set a reasonable schedule. I think any headhunter, any other company that recruits would set the same timeline. They'd be fools not to. They have to set a reasonable timeline that they think that they can meet based on the applicants, based on applicants' timing. A lot of times applicants can't get here within a timely manner. It's put out for weeks. So,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, if we do go get another company to give us a quote, they're also going to give us a time frame that's probably similar. And all we did was wait another 2-4 weeks on that to kind of get it. I just really, we've used them. They're a quality company. The pricing's right. I don't see a reason to wait, to be kind of honest.
I agree. I think the timeline is important. So I'm good with this company.
I am too.
Marie?
Okay, so are you saying you would like me to reach out to KRW and proceed? Or mayor? I believe there was the contract in there for KRW. I don't know if the attorney has any comments on that.
I haven't seen.
Okay, okay. So you need to see that.
I think if you're looking for directive, you got most of us.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear. And within the packet, there said there was a point of contact needed. And I was curious who you wanted that to be.
Oh, what was the question?
A point of contact so someone really to facilitate interviews and communicate candidate options to the board and those sorts of things. Okay.
HR.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that
just
would
wanted to
be
hear
you.
that from you.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
would be you, yes.
Please, yes.
Okay.
Marie, please.
Sounds good. I can do that. I'd be happy to do that. And then if I can just clarify for the interim town manager, I hear that you would like to post the position with CMLs. Maybe we can post on our website as well to see if we can get some candidates. We can open it up for 2 weeks and see what our candidates are and have them come November 5th here. What I would like, yes, on Zoom. What I would like is to review the job description to make sure we're putting out an accurate job description for them, as well as a potential salary, what that looks like from the board for this position, and then also a timeline.
So as far as an interim goes,
Correct.
What you want to do is ask them for a proposal versus a salary.
Okay.
So they may tell you that they're going to expect housing, mileage, and a monthly or a weekly. So you're going to ask them for a proposal versus if you want to employ them, then that's kind of a different situation. So I would start with that because usually these are professionals that are consulting that have their own consulting companies.
Okay. And I know Leslie said she had her own contract, so.
Yeah. I would like a bio and then a proposal from anyone who's interested in being an interim town manager while we are searching. And if any of them are also interested in being considered, running them through KRW. So.
And your timeline, ideal timeline of when you would like them to start?
Well,
Has-
Katie's last day is December 27th. If there was someone that was willing during December, I think to come and get a handoff from Katie, being able
Yeah.
to transition and say, here's where I'm leaving things, here's what you need to keep on your radar screen. So I don't know if we could get someone during the month of December, but it would make sense to me to have a handoff.
Well, I have a
That's
question.
another discussion I think that this board needs to have with regards to Ms. Sickles' proposal and her resignation. Stated that she would be here physically through November 13th.
Correct, yes.
And then as of November 13th, unless the board had some sort of alternative to that, that she would be willing to work through her PTO, albeit in a remote circumstance, through the 27th of December.
Yes.
But the board, I think, needs to weigh in on that, and there needs to be some determination as to whether or not that's acceptable, or is there an alternative process based upon perhaps your finding of an interim person, or the timeline that you guys set forth.
Go ahead.
I thought Katie's last day was November 13th, and after that, PTO is paid time off to me. I don't believe in any employee answering any phone calls during that time. So I think that it should be affirmed that's your last day, November 13th.
I don't know how that would be possible.
And
I'm gonna
actually,
be-
she didn't
be-
say that
be
was
quite
her
frank.
last day.
It's October the 15th. That is literally 3 weeks from now to hire an interim and have them with enough knowledge to know what projects are going on and how things are going and get that set up into play. I just don't think that's a possibility, to be honest. Here I am sitting there thinking, can I beg you to stay another week? Because if we don't have an interim, I'm very concerned for that and what we would do without one. Now, I know some other municipalities have, sometimes they'll have a staff member step up to the plate for a couple weeks, but I really think they're stretched thin as it is. And so I don't even think that's a possibility for them at this time. And correct me if I'm wrong.
We are already short-staffed.
I know.
I'm doing two people's jobs. Jeremy's doing two people's jobs.
Yeah.
So we are already maxed.
Yes.
The offer that I gave you was to make sure that I'm supporting the board and the staff through the end of the year.
Yes.
It's.
And I think that I appreciate
and
that
it's-
so much.
I was there in August. I was really gone for 3.5 weeks and still continue to provide support to the board. I attended the meeting. Plus,
Yeah, you did.
yeah.
You did well. Thank you. I think her current agreement is fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's her choice to do that. I am concerned because, like Trustee Hartz was saying, it is PTO. Does her working hours count towards that, and we reduce it from the working? Well, I should ask you that. If you're working and you're on PTO, you're working, so you should be paid to work, right?
So, yeah, so what I did when I was in August is that I was probably working more than I was vacationing, but I just basically put in the hours that I worked, and I filled the rest of it in with PTO.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I think does that resolve your kind of
There's
concern,
no legal
Trustee
issue
Hartz?
with me
Right.
working during that time. I mean, I told you I could do that.
So Katie, if we had someone to step in, say, end of November, early December to be the interim, even though you're working remotely, would it be acceptable or feasible for you to just come in person as needed for this person? Or do you feel it would be satisfactory enough to be able to support them in a remote position as far as talking to them?
I'm gonna support the board and the staff any way I can. So
Okay.
my son lives here, so it's not like I'm gonna go to Australia or something.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
just I just think that it's time.
Yes.
And but I care for this community. I care for the staff. I think that the board possibly would like to go a different direction, and but I'm going to do everything I can to support both.
Well, I deeply appreciate that. And knowing that, does that answer your question as far as?
But you still have to make that decision.
Well, no, I'm saying I'm good with that. Let's get an interim in here. And, obviously we need to review bios and we need a proposal. So I would put it out there more or less for a bid and say, who's interested in stepping in and being an interim town manager?
And
These are the
ti-
things that we need.
Timeline, I would say that we need them in 3 weeks if we can.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think we need an interim in 3 weeks too, and start on the 14th. And try to make that happen as best as we can.
I know that's a really small
It's a tall order, but
timeline.
Well, and if we have the applicants that can do it, then,
yes.
right, perfect.
Right.
Fingers
So I
crossed.
think we should be looking at trying to get somebody in here on the 14th.
Okay. Okay,
If not sooner.
all right.
Go ahead.
Can I offer a suggestion, just from the community? I don't know, I'm not tied in any way to anything here, so,
You- Do you want to step up to the mic, please?
I'm Julia Brill, 822 Burnham Lane. I just want to offer a suggestion. I'll put it out, and you can mull it over, and everybody can think about it. I've been watching what's been happening between the board and Ms. Sickles, and I can see everybody's very personally invested in the betterment of Bayfield, as am I. And so it's easy for people's feelings to get hurt because we're all human and we put so much of ourselves into it. And so I was thinking, because of the costs involved with now getting an interim, potentially hiring another town manager, going through all the costs involved with that, and who knows if there's going to be more costs based on what a potential new manager is going to demand to come here and work. That's a lot of money. And I don't think Bayfield has that money or the time or the effort to expend on just having someone else come in. So with those costs in mind, not just the financial costs, but the cost to morale to the city employees, the problems that are inherent to bringing on a new person to take on a new role, all of those costs in totality when they're calculated, I think as a citizen, I would support the board making the word slips my mind, but a gesture of goodwill to Ms. Sickles to offer her, if she would consider, just hear me out. 2 weeks, just time off so that people can calm their emotions down, and offer her a new contract with just a minor, just $5,000 extra a year in annual, just as a token of our goodwill that we appreciate what she's done. We appreciate how much work has gone into getting the town of Bayfield to where it is. And I think the totality of that, the costs involved in the goodwill, 2 weeks or a week, or whatever you decide, and an additional $5,000 a month, or whatever's reasonable. I just pulled that number out of my head. But as a gesture of goodwill that the Board of Trustees and the town of Bayfield is invested in keeping the ship right. Because, well, this group may be the very best that we can get for this particular purpose, there is no guarantee that you will find someone that you can work with. There is no guarantee that they'll find someone, period, who will want to work here under the conditions. And I'm not saying they're bad conditions, I'm saying that a good quality town manager will have the significant demands that fortunately Ms. Sickles is not demanding of the town of Bayfield and did not demand when she negotiated her contract. So these are all future things you need to foresee. And that was just my thing. I don't know, you'll have to think about it, you'll have to tell me to sit down and mind my own business, And maybe she doesn't want anything more to do with the town. I don't know. It's just an option. But if we put out a good faith, mea culpa, we're sorry for whatever, we don't even have to bring up what we're sorry for. But just, let's take a breather, let's all calm down, and let's make forward progress. That's my suggestion.
Well, thank you, Julie. Katie has made her wishes very clear to us, and this is the price of not being forward-thinking and having knee-jerk reactions. It just is. This is the cost of that behavior. So we are honoring Katie's wishes. I appreciate what you said very much. Maybe that could have been utilized a month ago or a month and a half ago. But we're now honoring Katie's wishes, and this is where we're at. So now we have to do what's best for the town staff and take care of them, which in turn takes care of our community. So without the staff being stable and feeling relieved, they're not going to do a good job for our town. So we need to support them first and foremost at this point. So thank you for your observation.
Unless you would like to entertain that. I try.
Did you have,
Questions for Marie.
go ahead.
Marie, are we looking only at, or everybody, are we looking only at Colorado since we're only putting this out to the Colorado Municipal League? Or will you put it on LinkedIn or Indeed or any of those?
So I just talked to Express. They also have a national recruiting company. We could go with that for the interim. And he also said he could post it in our Four Corners area, which I thought, well, that could be an option too, to draw in people that are maybe already here. So I can look at that option as well for an interim. And I mean, I have a whole list of people. I was referred to interim public management, and I spoke to Tim. He has a couple states he works with, Colorado being one of them, and that's what they do. They just hire interim people. So I can consult with him too. Of course, there's a fee. There's a fee associated with Express, right? So again, I can look at all these and get that information back to you and see what we can do if you'd like.
Is there a reason that a municipal position doesn't get posted on LinkedIn or?
I haven't posted on LinkedIn because I don't have a LinkedIn account quite yet with the town of Bayfield. So, but that is on my list. And we can try. I can connect with Katie and see. I know CML is free, so that's,
Yeah,
a plus.
so are those.
But
That's why I'm asking.
but
And
I
the
can.
other thing is, Kat said something about these interims going through KRW. Do we need to have them go through?
No.
KRW?
No, they wouldn't.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
And so, do we
Go
need
ahead.
to sign a contract with KRW?
I think you have to have a motion and a second and make a
That's-
decision.
That's where
Yeah.
I was going to go next.
My suggestion along those lines, again, so as to give me an opportunity to
Yeah.
look at the contract, perhaps the motion would allow for signature authority to some staff member, perhaps your town manager presently, signature authority to enter into the contract once it's been reviewed.
Yep, that's good.
Okay. We'll be in touch.
Any other questions or comments?
Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for Town Manager Katie Sickles to sign, for authority to sign a contract with KRW Town Manager Recruitment once Attorney Goldman has had an opportunity to review,
With the contact person as a HR director, Akaim.
or HR
Yeah.
Director, not
Yeah.
That'd
And
be
once,
great. And once I've had an opportunity to review it and negotiate the
right,
terms.
renew it and negotiate the terms.
And I will second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Katsas?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
No.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Appointment of Planning Commission members for 2024 to 2028. First up is Chris O'Shea. Is it Haydinger or Heidinger?
O'Shea Haydinger.
Haydinger.
The Planning Commission did make a recommendation that the board appoint those. The authority comes by the Board of Trustees to appoint to your Planning Commission. We do have terms. Their annual meeting is in October. And so that we have two that are interested, and we still have two vacancies on the Planning Commission. So anybody that's in town that is interested, we have Planning Commission member, 2 seats open.
How do you say Jim's last name?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Tenza.
Tenza. Thank you. All right. I'd like to make a motion to appoint by renewing Planning Commissioners Tenza and Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger to the 2024 to 2028 term.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Katsas?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Interview for potential trustee candidates.
Would each candidate like to step to the podium and speak?
Well, I think one at a time might be
Yeah.
appropriate.
Well, I said each
So-
at a time. Well, I missed at a time. No, come as a bunch and speak over each other. One at a time.
Why don't you
So,
pick a person?
Julie, would you like to come up first?
Again, I'm Julia Brill, 822 Burnham. I'm a scientist. I have a PhD in criminology, law, and society from the University of California, Irvine. I had been a criminologist for about 30 years or so. About 25 years ago, I came to this area of Colorado to do my dissertation with the Southern Ute tribe. I wasn't aware that I had to do a presentation, so I'm just gonna just generally introduce myself. Last week, I became an employee of the Colorado State University to facilitate a physical activity program that they're having in Ignacio. And so I'll be doing that, but at the beginning of 2025. I do a lot of consulting work, mainly for the U.S. Department of Justice, a variety of different agencies out of justice. Recently, I am advising the National Science Foundation and the National Academy of Sciences on a variety of scientific matters. Unless you don't know, the National Academies of Science is a group of scientists who advise Congress on directions that the country should take. I'm very specialized in my area. A recent project I just finished, advising funding for research in the next 5 to 10 years when the administration changes. I do that. That's the kind of work that I do. I volunteered for Governors Polis and Governor Hickenlooper to serve on the Judicial Performance Review Committee, where I evaluated the work judges did here in the 6th Judicial District. And, Justice Assistance Grants Board. It's a board out of the governor's office, I think, where we distributed funds to, federal funds to local law enforcement agencies based on their needs and their grant proposals. I did that, a lot of volunteer work for the state. Well, not very much for the state. I mostly do federal volunteer work. Let's see, the only conflict that I might have with Bayfield is because I'm a disabled person, I get a lot of disability support. So I get the relief that you provide because my income falls into the category of eligible. I am very much interested in serving the town. I think I could provide a lot of assistance to, or guidance, I don't know about this. I can offer advice and you can choose to take it or not. It's your choice. But that's what I offer the town of Bayfield. Thank you.
We've got questions.
Whoa, whoa.
You're not getting off that easy.
So one of my questions for you is, what skills do you bring to the table that benefit the town board? What's the skill you think is the best that'll benefit the town board and the town of Bayfield?
Well, considering I have personally written thousands of grant proposals, research grant proposals, not for equipment or anything. I have reviewed even more grant proposals that municipalities submit to get federal funds. And I have reviewed many, many research grant proposals that scientists submit to get research grants. I did that for a long while for DOJ. And now I'm advising Congress through the NAS where they should put research funds in the future. So I think I'm pretty qualified to review grant proposals. I know where there's a lot of money for a lot of things, not just in the justice area, but there's a lot of cross-fertilization with money that's available between various agencies of the federal government, where there's lots of pots of money around. I can use that to help Bayfield get some of those dollars. I don't know. There's no guarantee because, of course, there's everybody else trying to do the same thing. But I can put in my insight on what makes a good grant proposal. If you want a nuts and bolts, what can help town of Bayfield? There you go.
I do have one more.
Oh.
What would be your number one goal or thing you want to make happen while serving on the board?
Pie in the sky. Peace and tranquility. If the leadership of an entity, whether it be a town, a state, a business, cannot demonstrate tranquility to its citizens or the people it's supposed to lead, then there is going to be large problems. And not just with staff leaving and attrition and all of that. That just invites conflict. And as a criminologist, one of my specializations is community research and negating conflict between people in communities. So if I can do something to help things calm down and the board can present a very calm, unified self to the community, then that will prevent a lot of future problems. Right now, the town, and I'm saying this as a citizen of the town, I'm going to be asked at some point to pay for all the costs of Miss Sickles leaving, okay? And, you know, I'm not interested in having cost due to the unnecessary costs paid for unnecessary reasons. So if we can prevent things like that from happening, then that's what I would like to do. That's my pie in the sky. You know.
Well, I appreciate your pie in the sky. I'm going to let you guys ask questions too.
I'm going to ask this question of all the applicants. What kind of research have you done into the last year to know what projects are going on in the town, to know where the priorities are, where the challenges have been, just with the town running and the different departments and what they're doing? What kind of research have you done?
Every minute I'm awake, I'm doing research. I have research in my blood. That's what a scientist does. I have been observing this area, this town, Ignacio, this entire southwest Colorado, which is my research site. I have been observing it for the last 25 years to see what goes on, see how people interact with each other, see how governments respond to issues that people believe should be addressed by their governments, whether it's a tribal government, whether it's a tiny town government, whether it's a larger government. Observing is a key component of being a social scientist, which I am. So I have been watching everything happen. In the 6 years, October 26th, coming up, will be 6 years that I bought my house here. In the 6 years that I have lived physically here in Bayfield, I read the news, I talk to people, I interact with police officers just to gauge a sense of what's happening, what's going on. I don't have long involved conversations with anybody because I don't feel it's necessary. But when I'm out exercising, whether I'm riding my bike or walking, I'll stop and talk to people, just get a sense of just general people. And I don't see any of those people here. They're usually retired folks, but just get a sense of what the town of Bayfield is, how they feel about it. So that's what I've been doing.
Thank you.
So I'm looking through your resume, and you seem pretty busy. Do you have time to do this board? Like, there's a lot going on in here.
That's mostly my publications. I love to write. I write mostly scientific writing and my books, and I just came out with new editions of my books, so I'm at 14 books. It's enjoyable to me, so I can write something in a day. It doesn't, yes, I have a strong publication record, but it doesn't take me a long time to publish. I have committed enough time that I feel is necessary to take on this position. If you don't want my services, if you don't want what I can offer you, I can go back to doing what I was doing. I have a physical activity program to facilitate. I have a lot of work that I do consulting for. So it's no skin off my back. So.
Yeah, I was just making sure you had the time to fill in.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yeah.
Along those lines, I was looking over your resume, and Ms. Abril, you chose to put a section in on writs of certiorari.
Yes.
It appears you're a plaintiff in at least 4 cases?
No, it's one case that went all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, and they recently denied it.
Is that case presently pending?
No, they recently denied it.
Okay.
At the United States Supreme Court, not any of the.
But were you a party that was suing other governmental entities?
No, I was suing the state of Colorado.
Okay. The district court?
Yes, district court in yes, Durango.
And that case went up to the Supreme Court,
It
but
went
it was denied?
it went all the way. It went to the Colorado Court of Appeals, the Colorado Supreme Court, and over to the United States Supreme Court.
And they denied certiorari, they
Yes,
denied hearing.
they denied it.
Okay. And what's the significance of putting that into your resume?
Oh, it's writing. It takes, you know, you're an attorney, it takes a lot of writing. I put my writing, my
But
writing.
you were the named plaintiff in these.
Yes.
cases. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Nope.
I'm good.
Thank you, Julie. Lori Cesaro?
Good evening, Board. I know several of you from being on this board just recently, and Laura, we've not had the pleasure, but looking forward. So my experience and why I'm here, so I didn't run for a second term before. I wanted to take a step back because I've been involved in many boards, the Chamber of Commerce, my HOA, the town board. My job changed, we moved, there was a lot going on. What I found in the 6 months that I have been gone is that I am still paying attention to everything that's going on in the town. I'm watching the meetings remotely. I've been to a couple of the meetings. And I feel as if I'm uniquely qualified to come back at this time because I know the history of what has been going on in the town. We're in a time of transition, and I feel like I'm pretty up to speed to come back to help get the town through the transition that's going on. I too would like to support the town staff during this time, and having reviewed the packet that just came out for the goals that the board has come up with for 2025 and some of the work that needs to be done, I think I'm in alignment with a lot of what this current board, what the goals are for 2025. So, I mean, first and foremost, it's retaining and recruitment of town staff. And then I know most recently looking at stormwater, I know that's a concern I even have in my own neighborhood. So I was appreciative of the work that this board did to pass the Stormwater Enterprise Fund and the work we're doing there. I'm really interested to seeing what goes on in the interim of having a community development director, because I know we've had a lot of work going on there. My personal opinion when I was on the board is that it was going pretty fast. It was fast and furious, and you know, it sounds like now it might slow down a little bit in the interim of having a director and a planner to do that work. So I don't want the work to now fall on other town staff's shoulders, but maybe there's an opportunity for things to not have to go so fast and furious, which I also believe might be some of the opinion of the residents in the town as well. I think some are fast and furious, develop, and some are not. So I think this gives us a good opportunity to really look at what does the whole of Bayfield want, because as a town board member, that is who you're representing. It's the residents of the town, but it's also taking into the consideration those who don't live in the town, because they still are using the services and they're still a part of our community, of the larger community. When I was on the board, I worked a lot with our senior community. I was initially a liaison. One of the things that is really important to me is our first responders in the community, be it our law enforcement, and I'm a reservist EMT firefighter for Upper Pine. Recently still trying to support the town in getting the opportunity for funding to do mitigation work to not have wildland fires in our community, in the town, and even on the outskirts of the town, because Upper Pine services more than just what's in the town. So even not being on the board, I'm finding opportunities to support work that strengthens the town and what we do. So I think I'll leave it at that, because most of you know me, and I will entertain your questions.
I'm still going to ask the same questions
Sure, that's
because
fine.
I feel it's fair to ask everybody.
Wow.
So what skills do you have that you feel will most benefit the town board?
Mm-hmm. I think it's having a history of being on the town board. I've served on other boards, so I know what the expectations are. I also have a background, as you can see in my resume, in human resources. So I feel that during this time of retention and recruitment and transition, just having the background knowledge of some of the legalese and some of the terminology and some of the things that we'll be doing, which I'm assuming are going to involve interviewing candidates and just being I was part of that process when we brought on the chief with that same company. So I'm kind of glad that that got moved forward because I thought that they were pretty reputable and it made it really easy for a lot of us who don't have the time. I will admit that too. It is really hard reading every one of these packets. I remember when we first started getting them on Friday and I was thankful, and then I was not thankful that I was spending my weekend reviewing board packets, especially at the pace that Katie had them coming out with 200, 400, and then the packet, then
They're
the
still
other
the same.
packet. So I understand that time commitment as well, but I think what I bring right now in this time, I think having a historical background in how this board works and having the DOLA training and all of those things, but also having that background in human resources, I think will be what in the immediate term would be a skill set that I bring to the board.
And I know you talked about goals earlier, but and that you were in line with them, but what's your one most favorite thing that you want to see happen and that's your goal?
Honestly, I am so glad Brian and Julie have been doing the park plan.
No, wouldn't that be fun?
I remember when I ran, I was really interested in our parks and recreation and after-school recreation for kids and really being into that, and then seeing it start to get revitalized with the work we were doing as a board. But now seeing community members taking the lead on that, recognizing that it's really hard for 7 people on this board and then for the town staff to have to do all of that, and understanding that we're a community. And so seeing that initiative being taken, I'm really glad that that's just still moving forward. But also, honestly though, in the immediate term, my number one goal is retention and recruitment of staff, because I know that if we don't support our staff, we are not going to have staff. So that would be my number one goal, but my pie in the sky goal is something happening with that parks plan, because there was a lot of work put into that.
Well, and I think for my question, you already answered it. I wanted to know, what kind of background study you had done of the town, but the fact that you were recently a board member and you've been following all the meetings or the majority of the meetings and very attentive to still being interested as to how this board is operating and moving forward. So unless you have more to add?
Well, what I would like to add is when I joined the board is when the pandemic started, and my primary background is in public health and supporting public health and medical. Emergency Support Function 8 is in my emergency management terms, and I won't get into acronyms, but I feel like during that time it was crazy beneficial to be a part of this board because stuff was coming out and you had a subject matter expert here. I will also say that Katie has been attending meetings with La Plata County and they have monthly stakeholder meetings. And I was even emailing Dustin today about the work that's going on for the election to make sure that he had all the information because I wasn't sure what was being shared. And that's from my day job, just looking at how's the town being represented, because it seems we live in Bayfield, but everything always to me seems Durango, and we're not Durango, we're Bayfield.
Yep.
So making sure that everything in La Plata County, that we're always represented, and I would speak for Bayfield, and my day job is working for the state. And so, I try to make sure they understand when I'm talking as a resident, not as my job as public health for the state of Colorado. But now I'm very vested in the town, and I have other things that I do that intersect with a lot of what the town staff do just for my day-to-day, that I can bring knowledge and feedback, or, hey, you guys weren't at that meeting, you need to know this. So it's just, that's kind of other stuff that, it's just, we're all connected.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Any other questions? Thank you.
And you had asked a question that I will answer too, because I think we have to ask all the questions to the candidates if HR reminds me. But I do know the time commitment, and I think in the 4 years that I served, I missed 4 total meetings, and I think maybe one of those was I was remote on Zoom. So I get the commitment. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and being a public servant, sometimes it's a thankless job. And so I'm appreciative of all of you who are up here doing this work, even though I might not always see eye to eye with what you do. But I mean, that's the name of the game. There's some days where we're going to be in agreement, and there's some days where we're not. So I get the time commitment too. So thank you all very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Todd Lyon?
All right, that's a tough act to follow. Hi, my name is Todd Lyon. 1455 North Mountain View Drive. I'm the new guy in town. I've only been here 2.5 years. By brief statement, you've read that we moved up here, we rented, we were looking around at all the areas around here trying to find, is this the right place for us? Do we want to live here? And we decided, wow, we love Bayfield. We love the friendliness of it. We love the fact that I walk my dogs around and everybody waves to me and says hi to me. It's just a great community. My background is I went to University of Houston. I know everybody hates Texas, but I was there playing football. That's why I went there. I minored in mathematics, but I got a degree in business administration. Basically, running a town is a business. So that's what I bring to the table here is understanding how businesses run and how to work with people. I'm a team player and I'm a problem solver is one of my best skills. Is there any questions anybody has?
Well, got to ask the same ones we did before. So what skill do you have that you feel will most benefit the town board and the citizens of Bayfield?
Basically, my management skills and understanding people and how to work as a team and get problems solved. That's always been my thing is there a problem? Let's figure it out. Like when you guys started talking about getting an interim, I was back there on my phone. There are several companies in the country that have consultants that will come in like that and be an interim. It's not that difficult. One phone call, they come in, they do it. That's what consultants do. I have several friends that are business consultants, and that's all they do. So that's an easy problem to solve, and I'd like to help you guys solve something like that. What was your other question?
Yeah, what would be your number one goal of things you want to have happen while serving on the board?
The number one thing I'd like to see happen is Bayfield stay Bayfield. Stay the town that I can walk around and everybody says hi. The town that I go into the restaurants and everybody knows your name. And not blow up. Right now we have Durango, which is going out of control. It's average price of the house there has just gone through the roof. So that means people are going to be looking to come here to live, to work in Durango. We don't want to expand too fast. We want to expand the right way and keep that friendly atmosphere. Keep Bayfield is what I would say.
Those are my two.
All right.
And then mine was, what kind of research have you done about the town within like the last year as to what's going on within the town?
Basically just paying attention to what's going on. I came to the meeting that was about the storm drain situation. I find it atrocious that 19 years ago someone didn't make that developer handle that and they let him leave town because now we can't do anything. You got to hold people accountable when things happen. You can't let it slide. As far as research, just the whole area as far as real estate, my 2 years while living in a rental, I was searching, what it was like, the real estate, what's happening in it, where do we want to live, resources and things like that. That's basically it.
Okay.
Your question was, do I have time? It says semi-retired. I'm mostly retired. I have nothing to do. Basically.
You better not say that too loud in this town because everybody's going to want you to do something.
I haven't
If
been
this
to
doesn't work out, I got like 10 boards you could be on.
I haven't been to the Supreme Court, I'm sorry. I can't help you there.
No, no help needed.
All right. Any other questions from you guys?
Any other questions?
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think we have 3 good candidates. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are or where you want to go with that, but you want to start?
Well, how do we decide? I mean, take a vote? What do you do? I don't know.
Well, we talk about it first.
Okay.
So we can figure out what the pros and cons of each candidate potentially are. And I'm sorry that there's probably going to be some cons for everybody, but everybody's good and everybody has things they can work on. So, but we would discuss that and then kind of get a general consensus from the discussion, and then we make a vote, if we want to vote.
So you're going to start with me?
Well, I figured he was looking at you.
He was looking at me. Okay, well, I think they're all good candidates. You know, I like the idea of, especially at this point in our sort of transition, everything going on, I like the idea of that Lori has been on the board before. She's very up on what's going on. I really sort of appreciate that. It gives some continuity, I think, to the board. I appreciate the enthusiasm, you know, certainly of, what's your name? I'm going to forget. The man here. He's got a lot of, Tom, yes, no, he's. Todd. Yeah. I think he's got a lot of enthusiasm. I certainly like his ideas about let's keep Bayfield, Bayfield. I'm very much in favor of that instead of making it a bedroom for Durango. Really like that idea. And then with Julie's, I'm really impressed with the amount of work and research you've done. I just sort of feel like your area of expertise and the areas that you've worked in a lot are not quite in line with what we need for the board right now. That's just my feeling about it. I mean, you've done fantastic stuff, really good, and really good training, but I think it's just sort of in a different area than what we're looking for right now. Those are my opinions.
Okay, shall I go?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to start with Julie. And so the positives, I think, is that, you know, you've got a definite kind of mindset that likes to research and look at every angle of whatever it is that you're invested in. And so I think that's a positive trait to bring to the table, as well as some of the judicial knowledge that you have. Where I think that it may not quite sit or suit what's needed is that your skill set that you said you brought to the table is research and grant review, and that's actually not something that the board does. Staff usually does the grants and the reviews. We don't get to see that portion of it. But overall, a very nice resume and potential. Next is Lori Zazzaro. I would say that, you know, her knowledge of the current issues in the town and the fact that she's donated so much of her time to other organizations as well as the chamber, Bayfield Chamber of Commerce. She's very vested in what happens in our community, and I do have to say I like the fact that she has been on this particular town board not so far away, so that she understands all of the things we're currently working on. And I know she's been following it because she still asks me questions on stuff. So you know, I really like that part about her. I don't know if I could put up with 4 times in 4 years being gone. That's not. I really don't have too much in the con area for Lori. And then for Todd, I do really like your enthusiasm. I like your thoughts about, you know, keeping Bayfield Bayfield. I do like that you said that. Where I'm just not sure is I just don't feel like there's enough background in your application to really tell me much about yourself. You know, outside of, you know, this little short period of time to talk to you, there was really not much to go off of, and so that would be the only comment I have with that. With that being said, I would say that my favorite would be Lori. I think I'm leaning towards Lori Zazzaro as a candidate.
Well, I think all 3 candidates are good. I'm kind of leaning towards Todd for the same reasons that I like his, you know, keeping Bayfield Bayfield and keeping growing small and not making Bayfield so much of a bedroom community of Durango and making it our own community. And I like the fact that he has a business background and he wants to run Bayfield like a business, which I think it needs to be done. I don't know. I think those are all his strong points, and that's where I'm leaning towards him.
You don't have positives for the others?
I have positives for everybody. I think they're all good, but I think those are his better qualities over everybody else.
Julie, I appreciate your commitment to the social part of the board. And I think you have some great things to bring to the board, just a little more depth than what we have the opportunity to go into. Lori, I think, knows a lot about what's going on. I had the privilege to sit next to her during the meetings. She did not miss a meeting. However, you were taking care of emails and telling me how busy you were a lot of that time. I think it's important to pay attention in the meetings. I also hear other things there that concern me. And Todd, I understand what it's like to go through that process of learning a community and seeing it with fresh eyes. I think that's a very valuable thing. I appreciate your business background because it is a business, running a town. It's run differently than a business, but it's still a business. So those are my comments.
Well, I'd like to thank all the applicants for coming out this evening and sharing with us your background. All the times that I've come to board meetings when they needed a replacement, there were people in line, so it's nice to have more community involvement. So I appreciate that. Pretty much echoing the same things that I've heard. Pleased that you have a business background, Todd. I think that that's a valuable skill. And then also for you, Julie, your research background. I do believe that this job does require background research, not just what's presented to us, but what other municipalities are doing and why they're doing it and why it worked. So I think that is a gift. I think with both Todd and Julie, I feel like there isn't enough knowledge with what's happening with the town specifically. I was looking for maybe you stating that you've dug into past meetings, read minutes, followed all the different projects that were going on. That's kind of what I was looking for. was so you could step right in and be ready to sort of address those challenges. I feel like with the turmoil that's been going on for our staff and also for the board, that it would be nice to have Lori step in with her background and her knowledge and her experience. Being a community connection for so many aspects, whether it's public health, whether it's public safety, the fact that you're out with other communities, community committees and things like that. We always need to be abreast of what's going on. The fact that you have been so embedded in all of the different projects leading up to where we are now, I like the feeling of having someone who understands all this and can step right in. And it brings, I think, stability to the town staff, knowing who you are, have worked with you, and confidence in that right now. There's, I think, a concern of confidence on how things are going to go. So I'm also leaning towards Lori, but I really appreciate the other candidates.
Yeah, I'd like to pretty much echo what everybody on the board has already said. I think all three candidates did a great job. I appreciate them putting the time and the effort to come in and talk to us and, you know, answer our questions. I guess for Julie, when the attorney started asking questions, I had concerns, but I think she answered your questions correct about being involved in the legal matters.
Has nothing to do with the correctness of the answers. It just has to do with the fact that it's listed in her resume, and you take it for what it's worth.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Todd, I like your enthusiasm. I think that you would bring great things to the board. My only concern is being relatively new and not knowing all the intricate workings that the town is working on right now. And I think Trustee Katzo kind of was alluding to that question, to see what kind of research was put in and the knowledge. So I don't know, I'm torn between Todd and Lori, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, we need a motion and a second before we can vote on anybody. Motion on any one candidate. And then, correct?
That is correct. Correct procedure.
I thought that's how
at
we
this
done it in the
point.
past.
Excuse me?
I thought that's how we done it we have
That
done
is
it in the
correct,
past.
yes.
We made
That's how it's
someone
been
made,
done in the past.
yeah, a motion and a second, and then we vote on that person.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to vote for a trustee to fill Trustee Schnucks's seat, and I would like to put my vote towards Lori Cesaro.
The motion should be in favor of a particular candidate.
Okay.
And then there would be a second,
Okay.
and then there would be a vote on
Great.
that motion.
Okay, so my motion is to vote for Lori Cesaro for the position of the open trustee position.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion?
I would like to point out just one thing. We requested to have a resume, and we did not get a resume from Todd. We got a resume from Lori,
If that sways your decision and you, when you're being given directives and you're trying to do stuff the right way for a town, I think following the directions in the very beginning are very important. Just want to point that out.
I'd like to address that. It said resume or summary. It didn't say both. Justin?
Yeah, it did say or.
Or
on there.
summary.
Yeah.
I felt resume, which could be several pages long.
Then I apologize for that because I thought it was a resume we were requesting. In the same breath, there's not much in here to tell us about this gentleman and what he's done. I feel like we're basing it off of the fact that he has a business degree. And you can have a business degree and no experience behind it. Sorry. I have to ask the same questions over and over, and when I got to you, I didn't, I just didn't feel it'd be fair to ask those questions.
So I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
No.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
No.
Welcome aboard, Lori. Or I should say, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
Welcome to the zoo.
I'm not you. Welcome to the insanity. Oh, yeah. God, are we done yet? I think
No.
so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
No, that's fine, no.
I passed and everything was talking about really good to my daughter.
Swear.
No, he bought one, let me see how.
Quiet, please.
I, Lori Cesaro,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Bayfield, Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Bayfield, Colorado,
that I will bear faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations
that I take the obligation freely without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office to which I've been elected.
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office to which I have been elected or appointed.
Can I just say something, Todd, real quick? If there is another board member that vacates at some point, because I'm gone in April, not this April, but next.
There's a
I'm sure
planning
the-
commission
Oh,
position.
oh, yeah, there's a planning commission position available. It could give you some experience. That's where I started. But we'd love to see you back.
Yes.
Thank you, Todd. That is good. That is good.
I would have said the same to Julie, but she already left.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a little seat for coming back.
Anyways, you know the pink
No matter
Victorian
who.
house on Mountain
I was
View?
hogging 2 seats.
He lives directly across. He bought the house from Michael. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Look, they still got your name in the drawer.
They knew you'd be back.
Remember when I left, I
away.
said,
Just
don't
dusted it
throw it
off.
away. There's always another opportunity. I'm not leaving Bayfield. Thank you, yes, I did.
Okay, moving on to the guiding principles of the Board of Trustees.
Yes, so the Board of Trustees, they approved Resolution 629. I think that it's just really important that on that resolution, the actually guiding principles had a place for everybody to sign. And perhaps it's just a good time for everybody to actually sign it. We would have your signature, and then and then you also got a copy. I don't know if we had a copy for Trustee Zazzaro or a second copy. So we'll make sure that you have one, of course. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for. Just your commitment to it. That, you know, staff is already under the gun to do their own jobs, and, you know, just, that's one of those things that it helps, that you come through the town manager. You're gonna have an interim or you're gonna have a new manager. They're gonna expect, if they're following the ethics of the ICMA, they're gonna expect that, that staff is not, directed by the elected officials. So the elected officials get to direct myself, the town attorney, and the judge. Those are the three people that are directed.
So this is a resolution, we're still under this, whether we sign it or not tonight. This is just a,
Finalizing the paperwork.
it's like a,
Finalizing the paperwork.
public affirmation. Who said that? Yeah, affirmation. That's the only thing. it's
It would be
doing.
nice to have that.
But otherwise, we're under this as an
Well, you were under it before, and there were still some
Right,
issues
so
that
nothing
seemed
has
to.
changed.
Well, it didn't seem like that we're following what was approved, so.
Okay.
So are we signing this tonight?
We have a document here. We'll
Great.
just have Lori write her name in.
Let's get that puppy signed.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Does anyone have a problem with me moving on while we're signing?
No.
Being that it's after 9, not at all.
Board of Trustees reports. What went on in the last 2 weeks? I don't think I have anything new to report at this point. If I think of something, I'll speak up. Trustee Harts?
I went to the Alliance Board meeting and regular meeting, absolutely nothing to do with Bayfield. No new information to report.
Trustee Katsos?
No new information to report, but I will be attending the school board strategic plan meeting at the end of the month.
Trustee McLaurin?
I have nothing to report.
Trustee Moreland?
They actually canceled their RHA meeting this last time because they had another event.
A housing conference.
A what?
A housing conference.
Housing conference, yeah. So I have nothing to report.
Trustee Nyberg?
Southwest TPR happened. I had to click off, but I know Ms. Sickles was on there as well, and I didn't hear anything about Bayfield or anything.
So they're looking for the 2050 plan, and the 2050 plan, we made sure that they're going to keep the east intersection on. And at the last meeting, or one of the last meetings, Community Development, Killian has stated that also to keep the pedestrian crossing on that. I just want to make sure that we're still in agreement. They are asking for any final for the 2050 plan. It's hard to believe that, you know, we keep doing this years and years out, but that's why the east intersection missed, I don't know how many decades, so anyway.
Okay.
But
So is it on? that
it
new
is
plan?
on, it's
Okay.
unfunded. Now our goal is to get it on a funded,
So what do we
plan.
need to do that?
It's
Do
on
we
the-
need to get on their list to talk about or something?
So I did get a confirmation from Tony Cady that said, well, we do know that it's on the list, it's to get it funded on the list. So the Southwest TPR, they'll vote on those at probably their December meeting.
Is there anything we need to do ahead of
Don't
time to
miss that
prepare
one.
for that?
No, I think that we've got that, at least it's on the list.
Right.
That's the best
Yay.
thing. But the pedestrian crossing at, I think there's something else we want to make sure, even if we have a light and it slows traffic down, it'd be great to have a pedestrian crossing.
Yeah.
And I believe that was her comment, Killian's comment a couple meetings ago.
Thank you. Well, that's good news.
Awesome,
That's
yeah. That's some movement.
Yeah, love it.
Progress.
Do you have anything to report?
No. You guys approved my CWPP at the last meeting, so thank you.
Oh, yeah. Very important.
So November 5th is the next board meeting, 12th is planning commission, 19th is the other November board meeting, and then be closed 27th and 28th for Thanksgiving.
So I'm wondering, I think Town Attorney Goldman's made a really good point. Maybe it's time you have a work session on, interim KRW, what you feel that, you're acceptable. I gave you a letter of resignation, if there's something else that you want changed in that. I think that all those things that would probably be a good work session is a 5:30 start. That would probably look for your, to address that as well, for 5:30 on the November. It's election day, but there's no
Yeah.
polling place here.
Yeah, my problem is I'm local counsel for the Plata County
Okay.
for voter
That's what I
protection,
thought,
so
yeah.
I will be very involved with that.
So you can consider maybe another work session, another day, maybe the day before. If not, you're just coming to another meeting and
not having anything else.
yeah, not
Right,
having a
right.
plan.
No, I think that that's a very good idea, and I think Marie would appreciate that too. So,
Bless you.
Marie, when will you, it's like a week, 2 weeks? Well, that we would meet and discuss this over with you, would you?
Sooner than later.
So a week?
Sure. Yeah, and I can reach out to the 3 plus KRW for the actual hiring, and see if I can get some more information and maybe review the job description, I would say. And then, at least probably post for a week, if not 2 weeks, and go from there.
But
Do
again,
you-
I think the question from the board is the opportunity to meet with you
Yeah.
so that they can devise a plan
Mhm.
going forward based upon what Ms. Sickles has offered up for them. And the question for the board is ultimately, what direction do you want to take? Are you into a hard and fast November 13th date? Or is it such that, based upon your conversations with Ms. Kim, that you'd like to take Ms. Sickles up on her offer of being available while she's
right.
using PTO into December? So that hasn't really been decided by this board.
Right, I
And
think,
that's
yeah.
a decision that needs to be made.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. We've talked about what we want to do. We'll just solidify it by having a work session with you, kind of the steps that's going to go through, so we're all clear. It's kind of like to revisit, who you've reached out to, Katie's timing. I think,
It'd be great if we scheduled it.
Yeah,
and then
that's what I'm
you just
saying.
send me an email of
Okay.
what you believe would be on that agenda.
Awesome.
I have a calendar up there.
Perfect.
Obviously, the election's on the 5th. Jeremy is out, but the 30th is a Wednesday night. It's not Halloween. You'll see that the 29th is a workshop with the school district.
Do we want to wait until the 30th, or do we want to do it the following week? I can't read that
Following
from
week
here.
or a week before?
I mean,
The
next
previous.
week, next
Yes,
week.
next
Yeah,
week.
next week is what I'm trying to
So I was
say.
thinking next week, Wednesday.
Yeah, I could do next week, Wednesday.
The 23rd?
Yeah. I think sooner than later. Time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would that work for you?
What's on
I don't know,
there?
I'm trying to follow that calendar up
6:30?
there and I'm lost.
I'm just going to look at the
The
attorney.
23rd, look at the 23rd.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have to be involved.
Okay, I just wanna make
It's
sure-
not a legal
Yeah,
matter, but
right.
it
No.
is a matter that is very important for the
Yes.
board to give direction
Yes.
to
Right.
the
Got it.
Yep.
The HR.
HR person.
You got it. Yep, I hear that. Okay, let's meet on the 23rd if that works for everybody.
What time?
Wait.
6:30?
Does not work for me right now, but
What's the 23rd is a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Their 24th is open.
Is 23rd or
I
the
can't make
24th?
Well,
I can make
what's
the
the 22nd? We can't do it on next
22nd's a
Tuesday?
Tuesday night.
Commission,
Why
isn't it?
can't we stick it to it?
No,
Why can't we keep it to a Tuesday?
the 22nd is not a
It's
planning
planning
commission.
commission.
It's our, we actually look forward to the 5 Tuesdays. Yeah.
I could do Monday, the 21st.
I can't.
You can't. Okay.
That's the only day I can't.
Okay.
Pick any of the rest.
What's wrong with the
I'm good.
22nd?
Planning,
No,
There's no
it's not
planning.
planning.
the 22nd, that's what I just heard.
No,
No,
it's
there's no
not the
planning.
planning
Thought I
commission
heard.
night.
I thought it was
Okay, so
planning.
there's nothing on the 22nd.
Well,
Tuesday.
right now, there's a Tuesday night open.
Let's do Tuesday.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
6:30,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay? All
Katie,
right.
may I ask a question?
Sure.
Since was your letter of resignation in a board packet that I'm not recalling?
I'll send
Okay,
it to
So I
you.
don't have that. Second, I think what I'd like to know a little bit more about are what kind of budgeted money do we have to do any of these processes? Because I am not in the loop on the cost of the KP.
KRW.
I know,
KRW.
I'm trying not to do a radio station because I don't have anything in front of me, so I'm trying to remember. So I don't know how much that costs. I don't know what money we have budgeted. We're doing the budget season, so we know we're going to be without a town manager, probably, I was listening February, March, April. So I'm guessing we have some money put aside for,
Well, you didn't budget to get a recruiter to hire a town manager. Let's
no,
put it
but
that
we
way.
did budget to
But
have a town manager, so I know we
yeah,
probably
so
have, we
so
still
you're
have money
so
in
you
there.
have some money in the budget to pay a town manager.
Okay.
But you're going to pay extra
Right.
through this process. I mean,
It's just what it is.
No, but if we're making decisions, it's good to know what kind of money we're within.
I think those are great points that
Yeah,
should
they
be,
discussed all
perhaps
that.
made part of a packet for the work session.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
on
that's,
Tuesday,
yep.
So that you can be informed, you can make informed
Okay.
decisions, and give direction on
Yep.
that date. Again, you're not going to be making motions or anything like that, but you can give direction.
Perfect, thank you.
22nd,
At
6:30.
Okay.
At 6:30.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 9:23.